Ayo, what is up everyone? It is the Alpha J of the Alpha J Show. So with the bump in my channel, I always had to say, I started off with about 8 miniseries to keep things interesting. However, I only actually did 7 of them. You have the versus, character clash videos, would I reboot videos, scenes like this videos, open-ended videos, extra discussion videos, and how I'd write videos. Now, with the how I'd write series, it's always been kind of iffy to me, especially in the beginning. A majority of the video is me explaining how I would fix the episode, but with the big risk of doing a top 10 of essentially that, along with the recent success of my last How I'd Write, I figured it wouldn't hurt to at least try this idea out. I've always had this idea, I just never did it. Essentially, it's the same concept, but instead of fixing an episode, I am taking a bigger risk and doing one from scratch. I do want to leave this here before I start because I want to make a special of 2 comedy shows and one slightly less serious action show, more about the story involved, which may go against the style of the former 2 series, but still, let's just get into it. For the art shout out for this video, I have this really cool piece of art. I wish I can tell you what they said, but unfortunately it's in a language I cannot understand. However, I do think it's really cool and I wanted to share it with you all. As well as the comments here, guys. Keep them coming, whether it's positive or constructive criticism. I am totally not afraid of putting up constructive criticism or when you disagree with my opinion in the review. So as you see in the title today, I'm going to attempt to write a special that involves all 3 reboots that are currently on Cartoon Network right now, in some way, shape, or form. It's kinda complicated. Teen Titans Go, Powerpuff Girls, and Ben 10. So we're going to start off on Ben's side. Ben sitting, staring out the RV's side window, bored as his grandpa Max tries to tell him to cheer up, as they're going to reach their destination soon. They're driving towards Jump City, and if you don't know, Jump City is the same place that the Teen Titans are supposed to defend, at least according to their wikia. Big shot of Jump City with grand music to show that this is a big deal. Cut over to the Teen Titans with Cyborg working on a new machine. Robin enters the scene and pretty much starts small talk with Cyborg. Cyborg would explain that he's trying to build an interdimensional machine in order to check out other timelines and alternate universes. He would also say that he got the inspiration from when they found that monkey that came from another dimension. Robin would ask why, and Cyborg would say because there's a land out there where everything is made of burgers and nachos, and he's determined to get there. Beast Boy would enter after hearing that and want to help, pretty much making a nuisance out of the entire thing, shape-shifting into animals and pretty much being annoying. Robin would get into the mix, trying to break them up. Then, zoom out. We see the Hive looking into the Titans' tower through binoculars. They discuss taking out the Titans once Cyborg and whoever else goes into the portal, and then destroying the portal so they can't come back, thus leaving Jump City to be theirs. Jinx expresses doubt, saying that it's going to take more than them to do such a task. Although Gizmo wants to do it with his own team, even he knows that this may be the battle of all battles, especially because he knows that he doesn't know what's coming out of the portal, so he's going to make a few calls. We get a nice fade to black as we reach the city of Townsville, where the Powerpuff Girls get a call that Mojo Jojo has been terrorizing the town. He's currently in a big battle suit, causing terror all throughout the city, but because of exposition, the Powerpuff Girls actually stop him quite quickly. Buttercup kicks him all the way back to his evil lair, causing him to knock a sheet off of a crate titled Failed Experiment 144, the 144 being a reference to the 144th episode of Teen Titans Go. He'd get curious of what's inside the crate, and when taking it out, he notices that it's the portal, because if you've seen the initial crossover, they never destroyed the portal. So Mojo Jojo gets the idea of reusing the portal again, and with an evil laugh, all of our series have been established in a way. One evil laugh into a cut back into the RV, Gwen wakes up and talks about Jump City, being excited that they get to meet the Teen Titans. With a little bit of commentary, Ben says that he heard of, quote, those guys, and, quote, those guys aren't exactly what they used to be. They are a lot less serious, to which Gwen expresses her skepticism, even pointing out that Ben isn't necessarily the most mature human being on Earth. This back and forth comes to an abrupt end when the RV nearly crashes into Cinderblock's foot. He's currently destroying Jump City. Ben turns into Diamond Head, and Grandpa Max advises him to stay back, but classic Ben, he won't listen. With a running start, he goes full force into the back of Cinderblock's knee area, causing his leg to cave in and Cinderblock to fall to the ground. Ben would stand on top of him and celebrate, saying that it was a lot easier than he expected, possibly even giving a slight commentary on how weak the Jump City villains seem to be. However, with a quick grab, before Max or Gwen can warn him, Cinderblock throws the very heavy Diamond Head into his own RV, totaling it, and because the force was so strong, Ben is knocked out. Almost. He does turn back into regular Ben, with Gwen running over to his side. Cinderblock slowly gets up back to his feet and goes over to him, one giant footstep at a time. Right before we see Ben and Gwen get crushed, it switches back over to the city of Townsville, where Mojo Jojo finally sets up everything that he needs. He takes a long look at the city of Townsville and turns back to his portal, expressing that he's going to rewrite the wrongs he did last time because he's super smart and super talented and will get what he wants in the end. He actually ends up talking about how great he had it in Jump City, and this time he won't even tell the Powerpuff Girls that he's going, thus ensuring that because in this universe no one really cares, he will be able to take over without any difficulty. So he goes through the portal with another big evil laugh that echoes across the city. The narrator expresses his worry, although Mojo Jojo may leave the city of Townsville, he may come back worse, or someone might replace him here. Cutting back over to the Titans universe, we see that the Hive are around the tower with Gizmo saying that he's made a few calls. What was originally Gizmo, Jinx, and Mammoth, as well as Seymour and Billy Numerous, is now joined by Aqualad, Terra, and surprisingly, Death. Terra would talk about how she doesn't want to work with Aqualad, and they would bicker back and forth, before Death shuts them up, wanting to know if they can get rid of all of the Titans together, especially Raven, because if you know the episode I'm talking about, Death doesn't really like Raven. As they say this, the Titan robot zooms out of the tower, with said music to accompany it. They'd all run into the tower as we finally get back to the others: Cinderblock, Ben, Max, and Gwen, with the Titan robot punching Cinderblock, knocking him down. They'd use all different sorts of weapons to have a pretty big battle, with Ben slowly losing consciousness during the process. And because it's kind of a trope, we would see Ben lose consciousness from his point of view. During this small break, we would see Hex, a villain from Ben 10, looking for a magical amulet that would enhance his powers near Jump City. He's in a desert, kind of outside of the city, and this will come back later. As they'd come back from Black, Gwen would explain that the Titans were amazing and took down Cinderblock. Ben would still be a bit woozy, as Robin gets out of the Titan robot, checks the damage, with Gwen attack-hugging Robin being a huge fan. Robin would be confused, thinking that he actually has a fan, with Ben pulling Gwen off of Robin. Gwen would show a video of Robin and the other Titans pretty much saving the day in their own show Teen Titans Go. Robin would be confused, saying that he thought he got rid of the cameras. Gwen would say, well, yeah, one camera, but there's so many, with tons of shots and different angles of Robin and Gwen as they say this. And Robin would go on a spree, destroying them one by one with his staff. But there's too many and he kinda gives up. Cyborg and Beast Boy would cut it short, saying that they want to get back to their portal building, and Raven and Starfire would follow as well. Robin would end up going with them, but Gwen says that their RV is totaled, and now they kinda have no place to stay. Grandpa Max would say that it isn't a big deal, they could probably get a hotel or a motel somewhere in Jump City, and also introduce himself, but Robin would insist for his one fan, at least to his knowledge, to stay at the Titans Tower. Although Ben doesn't want to, they have to, and they all go back to the Titans Tower. So the Hive, from before, would split up into teams of 4, one being the team of Gizmo, Jinx, Billy Numerous, and Seymour, and the other team being Terra, Aqualad, Death, and Mammoth, with Death and Mammoth joining Aqualad and Terra so that their constant bickering wouldn't compromise this mission. I will call these two teams Gizmo's team and Aqualad and Terra's team. Gizmo's team stays in the tower and takes out the Titans in a big sabotage mission, while the other guys, the other team, Aqualad, Terra, Death, and Mammoth, will go through the portal. Gizmo will be tinkering with the portal and sees that a being is actually coming through the portal soon, coming from a certain coordinate. So Gizmo would make the call that they should wait for this guy to come through the portal, but as the Titans approach, Gizmo has to change his plans, so he doesn't get caught, and has the second team go through while his team stays in the tower and this mystery person comes through the portal. So the Aqua Terra team goes through the portal, reaching the city of Townsville, while the Hive, minus Mammoth, hide throughout the tower. Mojo Jojo finally reaches Jump City through this tower like a signal interference. He looks around and realizes that some parts of the city look like Jump City, and then he would infer that he's in the right place. But he would also notice that the other Titans are coming back via the Titan robot, and therefore hide. Raven and Starfire would go one direction, Robin, Gwen, Max, and Ben would go in another, and Cyborg and Beast Boy would go back to work on the tower, noticing that it's not only been finished, but used recently. So Cyborg and Beast Boy go off to tell the others, but Gizmo, along with Jinx and the others, take them out silently, putting them both in this large closet. Mojo Jojo would come out and congratulate them, seeing that they're also evil, wanting to team up. But following the last Powerpuff Girls crossover with Teen Titans Go, they would call Mojo Jojo a monkey that can't really do too much, and not take him seriously as an evil villain. And the Hive, minus Mammoth, would end up taking him out too, tossing him in the closet with Beast Boy and Cyborg. Cut over to the city of Townsville, where all of Team B, for Aqua and Terra, get tossed into Mojo Jojo's lair. They check out all of the failed or upcoming tech, and they like what they see. Def says that they should take these babies out on a test run to see how good they are. Terra and Aqualad would argue some more before Mammoth claps his hands very loudly, making the two stop, and they are off to cause some terror through the town with Mojo Jojo's gear. Cutting over to Professor Utonium's house, the girls are having a small dialogue back and forth, reminiscing about the time they had to tolerate the Teen Titans. Before they can say too much, they get another call, this time a bit later in the day, about a battle suit that Mojo Jojo uses earlier, and the girls remember. The Powerpuff Girls zoom over, with Blossom noticing the suit. She'd tell the girls that Mojo Jojo must be behind this new and unknown team. They'd end up having an action sequence, with Blossom taking on Death, Buttercup taking on Mammoth, and Bubbles taking on Aqualad and Terra, who still argue throughout this fight scene. Team Aqua, Terra, whatever would end up retreating in the end, when the Powerpuff Girls get the upper hand. However, we see the Professor, who is walking home with a bag of groceries. Blossom would yell for the Professor to get out of the way, Mammoth would see that the Professor must be worth a lot to the Powerpuff Girls, and Mammoth ends up taking the Professor as hostage, going back into Mojo's lair, and teleporting back with his entire team. The girls try to catch up before Death takes one last blast of a gun or a ray gun or whatever in the battlesuit, knocking them back. We come back over to the Titans Tower where Ben meets up with Raven. They have a very apathetic conversation while Gwen talks about all the times the Titans did whatever adventure they were, referencing previous episodes. Max looks out the tower with Starfire being the tour guide. She ends up going through the Titans Tower garage, the same place that the portal is, and both Max and Starfire find a beaten down Cyborg, Beast Boy, and Mojo Jojo, getting jumped in the process, with those two becoming the latest closet people. Coming back through the portal, Team Aquaterra would regroup with Team Gizmo, putting Professor Utonium, their hostage, in the same closet with the rest of them, which is why I said it was a big closet, planning their big takeover for the final battle, where they take out the rest of the Titans, throw them out, keep the tower, and take over Jump City, which is kind of a reference to the first episode of the first season of the original Teen Titans, which I did review. At night, they would abduct the final four, Ben, Gwen, Robin, and Raven, if you've been keeping track, and take them to a deserted area where they all wake up, with Ben, Gwen, Max, pretty much all of them, in separate cages on a conveyor belt towards a crusher. So now we have all the protagonists, minus the Powerpuff Girls obviously, on a conveyor belt towards Death. And I don't mean the character. While the big Hive team, the special Hive team, of obviously the Hive but also Aqualad, Terra, and Death, would give a large speech about how the Titans don't really do a good job protecting Jump City, and that they really shouldn't be considered heroes. And everyone would be better if the Titans just left. Death would add that even the outsiders aren't as loved, being Ben and Gwen in this particular scenario, and that they wouldn't be missed if this plan goes through. The Teen Titans would say that although they didn't have much friends or much support, they themselves had fun, and that when their time is up, then their time will be up. But it isn't right now. giving undertones to the network scheduling. Aqualad would respond, saying that he feels like the Titans had to have enough fun, and that it's time for another group to shine, also giving undertones. And if you're wondering why they didn't break out of the cages, it's because the material wouldn't let them and Cartoon. They would test this out. All of the cages would get really close to the edge, being compressed to death, before the Powerpuff Girls saved the day. They stopped the lever and released everyone out of the cages, having them all fall in a kind of groggy sense. Professor Utonium would ask how did they find all of them, and Blossom would fly forward, explaining that the battlesuit that Def had and is still wearing is trackable, and it made it super easy to find them. Def would shout at Mojo Jojo, "Why would you make a battlesuit trackable?" And it would cut to tons of instances of Mojo Jojo doing things, but losing the battlesuit each and every time. So being embarrassed, he would respond with a shrug. So now, the final battle is Blossom, Buttercup, Bubbles, Robin, Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy, Cyborg, Ben, and Gwen, with Grandpa Max and Professor Utonium sitting on the sidelines. So those 10 will be going up against Gizmo, Mammoth, Jinx, Seymour, Billy Numerous, Death, Aqualad, Terra, and a newcomer. Remember earlier I said in the story, I mentioned that Hex was searching for a magical amulet. Well, he is seen in the distance, and Ben notices, shouting his name and diverting the attention of everyone. Robin would ask who Hex is, and Gwen would give a small backstory. So now it's 10 heroes against 9, or is it 10? Well, Mojo Jojo would essentially be a quote villain as well, but he isn't taken serious by anyone. And I'm going to keep the running joke that he's a monkey, and in this universe they do not take him seriously. So they all have a big fight, with Ben turning into any alien really, whichever would work best. For the sake of an example, my preference would go as so. Terra and Aqualad would fight Beast Boy and Raven. If you don't know why that's the pair up, I highly suggest you watch the Teen Titans Go episode Rocks and Water, with it looking like Raven and Beast Boy may lose the battle as Def gets into the picture, as continuity would state that Def still has a grudge with Raven, who would be rescued by Starfire, making it even, before Billy Numerous outpowers the scene, making Cyborg take out all of the clones, before being muscled out of the way by Mammoth, who would be triple teamed by the Powerpuff Girls, who would be sabotaged by the monkey that no one is taking seriously, who then gets into a comedy segment with Gwen, before Gwen and Hex, as well as Gizmo and Jinx, intimidate Gwen, with continuity from the episode here, before Ben rescues Gwen, with Robin, both of them taking out Hex easily, subtly ending that particular arc, with Ben not necessarily respecting Robin. This would obviously be a great back and forth, but Cinderblock gets back into the picture and makes a giant impact, defeating all of the heroes again, along with Mojo Jojo because Butt Monkey. Robin would give a big speech that if they destroy the heroes, then there will be no show. He'd give a meta speech about how there needs to be heroes and villains, and maybe that back and forth gives the villains purpose, and gives the cameras that are watching them all the time purpose, to give entertainment to the people who watch this. While they think about this grand speech, Robin would whisper off camera, and an off-screen animator would erase the villains and redraw them dead, in a way, or defeated, whichever is PC, giving an anticlimactic ending. They would all be confused as Robin Wood explains it was what he had to do, as many Teen Titans Go episodes end with joke endings. The Powerpuff Girls would confront the Titans, saying that she didn't expect to win that battle, but she's glad to have the Titans and Ben and Gwen on their side. Robin would say that's 2-0, call back to the previous crossover, and call them babies because continuity. The Titans would have a freeze frame victory moment before all of the other characters stare at them, before awkwardly walking off screen before it cuts to black. I did leave tons of room for humor. I do like the running gag of Mojo Jojo as the butt monkey. I do think you can add some more jokes between the rivalry of Ben and Robin, or the fangirling of Gwen. Maybe they can have a one-upping contest. Maybe Gwen can go too far. There's also the dynamic of Aqualad and Terra arguing. Maybe they can get back together at the end of the episode. There's so much room for humor, and this was my first time doing this, with these stories here on out. And whether you're new here or you're a longtime viewer, feel free to tear this apart, critique it, compliment it. Let me know what you think about this episode concept in the comments below. Do you think basing it heavy on Teen Titans Go is a bad thing? What villain should I have used? Give me all the details, guys. Also, make sure to follow me at the Alpha J J Show on Twitter for channel updates, memes, sometimes even polls. Or feel free to join my public Discord. I also have other avenues that will become active next month at the time of posting this video. The links for those will be in the description below, as well as the request page. Is there any other concept that you think hasn't been done yet that would be amazing that you think I should try? Is there any two series that you think it would be hard to cross over that you would like me to take a swing at? Or maybe you found two episodes that are similar for a versus or a character clash, or simply you just want me to check out a series. I totally love taking requests and suggestions, and I have a video for that, my requests video. Make sure to leave it on that particular comment section, not the comment section of the video you are listening to now. The link for that will also be in the description below, as well as the card above. If you really like this video, I highly suggest my How I'd Write playlist or my Teen Titans Go playlist. Both have quite a bit of videos in it. Make sure to subscribe and feel free to consider my Patreon. As always, I hope your time is well spent, and Alpha out.